Education departments implement standard-based education. Lucky escape for passengers after a bus and taxi collided. And scientists discover liquid water on Mars.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and thanks for joining me with Saturday's news. Children must be the target when it comes to development of early childhood curriculum. Dr. Elia Kimapelis from the Education Department said all materials must capture children who will better understand its content. EMTV's Fabian Hakelitz reports.
Representatives from UNICEF and National Departments of Education and Health inspected materials produced so far in this workshop. They were pleased with the quality work produced. Dr. Apellis, in his closing remarks at the Early Childhood Curriculum Development Mobilization Workshop, pointed out children must be recognized.
It begins with the parents. And if there is anything, I want a program which is already there, which can be analyzed and teased out and then make it into various aspects of the communities we live in.
Participants like Celine Karapan from the Autonomous Region of Bougainville said to use their knowledge and skills to help the Bougainville Education Department develop and implement the Early Childhood Development Program. Other participants also expressed satisfaction as this workshop allowed them to link with other stakeholders that will work together to improve and implement the Early Childhood Education Curriculum. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Meanwhile, primary teaching courses are currently under review. Dr. Apelis says standards are the focus of the review aimed at improving teacher training.
The National Education Department has embarked on standard-based curriculum. Dr. Apelis says teacher education will be embraced through training and development for elementary and primary schools.
We are establishing many elementary teachers now, provinces, teachers colleges. We need to capture all this in our teacher training programs.
From 2016 onwards, the National Education Department will embark in setting standards in terms of infrastructure, qualification and issues and counted by educational institutions.
So we're not looking at standards in terms of curriculum. We have to look at standards where we have to embark on that allows us to implement the curriculum efficiently and effectively.
What's to be captured in curriculum development is the actual standards that aims to assess students' performances. This is to ensure quality education for teachers and students. Fabian Hakelitz, National EMTV News.
Motorists and passengers escaped serious injuries when a Route 15 PNG bus and a taxi collided yesterday here in Port Moresby. Residents and passers-by at the 5 Mile settlement rushed to the scene of the accident. Witnesses say the accident was alcohol-related and that the taxi driver was at fault, failing to stop at the give-way sign at an intersection. The driver fled the scene before opportunists attempted to help themselves at vehicle parts. The police arrived at the scene to manage the situation. Well, National EMTV News continues after the break with more local stories. Stay with us. Good to have you back with Saturday's news. The PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum wants to educate more women in alluvial mining. This is because women who have taken up alluvial mining are finding it difficult due to lack of information. PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum's Leslie Bennett says the Women in Mining program is aimed at educating more women miners on skills and safety measures.
At the second alluvial mining convention and trade show in Leh, some presentations were raised on the well-being of women miners in small-scale mining. Apart from Morebe's alluvial miners, the event has also attracted alluvial miners from other centers across the country. Leslie Bennett from PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum said the small-scale mining sector is growing with women participation.
We believe that literacy sets the foundation for all other economic opportunities like financial literacy, banking, or getting into other business activities. You have to have the foundation of being able to read and write.
The Women in Mining program aims to enhance women in the alluvial mining sector become equipped with necessary field skills and information and safety measures. Amongst the lot was Linda Diva, an alluvial miner from Morabes, Bulolo district.
Office law, wow, offices must come down, wow. So then by making easy lo mipla, o sea sa mio sa mama mi mas mipla bagen go on top na.
Women alluvial miners have been key participants in most small-scale mining activities, and PNG Chamber of Mines and Petroleum is seeking to enhance them with skills and information. Colin Barilai, National EMTV News, Leh.
Chief Secretary to Government, Sir Manasupe Zurinoa, has commended the Implementation Task Force of the Special Agriculture and Business Leases, or SABLs, for the report to implement the recommendations found during the Commission of Inquiry into SABLs. Sir Manasupe said in 2011 the government set up a Commission of Inquiry into SABLs, which found that many leases needed to be revoked. He says the current laws cannot revoke these leases, and therefore amendments to the legislation will be considered. The Chief Secretary added that from the report provided by this special task force, the government now has a clear way to implement the revocation of non-genuine leases. The report is now ready to go before Cabinet for approval. Well, PNG Eco Tourism Consultancy Services Director Francis Stephen says East Sepik Province has unique cultural artifacts to be showcased internationally. He says the province has unique cultural artifacts like clay pots, carvings and traditional songs which contributed to the eco-tourism industry of Papua New Guinea. EMTV's Eric Harupma reports.
PNG Eco Tourism Director Francis Stevens said East Sepik Province is one of the potential ecotourism hubs of Papua New Guinea. He said East Sepik Province has many cultural artifacts like carvings, traditional house tambaran or houseman, clay pots, and traditional songs that promote the cultural identity of this country.
We marketed and the average tour package based on the itinerary is about 23,000 kina for 7 days tour.
However, he said the impediment is the lack of coordination and consultation with national government, local level government, district development authority, and line agencies. The PNG Ecotourism Services Consultant has been operating for the past 15 years and aims to create avenues for local people to access overseas markets.
To tell East Sepik people that we have to be always cool and calm, because that's where identity is.
Having seen the potential of ecotourism industry in East Sepik Province, he is facilitating a showcase of some of the provinces at the FEX in Sydney next month. The event will see local artists from the East Sepik Province showcasing some of their unique cultural heritage as an avenue to sell their products overseas. Eric Harupma, National EMTV News.
Now to a very exciting story and a potential breakthrough. In fact, the search for life beyond Earth continues. NASA scientists have confirmed that liquid water exists on Mars and still flows from time to time. Now they are working to find out where that water comes from.
NASA teased the world last week with the headline, Mars Mystery Solved. Monday, it announced the big breakthrough.
Under certain circumstances, liquid water has been found on Mars.
For years, scientists have speculated there could be water on the red planet, but couldn't prove it. Years of research and exploration later, that proof has come by way of seasonal dark streaks seen on ridges, craters, and mountains.
These are dark streaks that form in late spring, grow through the summer, and then disappear by fall.
Scientists believe the streaks are caused by briny or salty water that flows periodically across the surface. The salt content keeps the water from freezing on the frigid Martian surface. So what does this mean exactly? Well, NASA stopped short of saying there's life on Mars.
We haven't been able to answer the question, does life exist beyond Earth? But following the water is a critical element of that.
If there's life on Mars, that we have a way to describe how it might survive.
They certainly leave the door open to the possibility.
Well, National EMTV News continues with True Guy Sports. That's coming up next, and we'll give you details of cricket and American football. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome and thanks for joining me with Trukai Sports. Over to cricket. The PNG Barramundis touched down in Alice Springs, Central Australia this week to play their first two-day match of the South Australia Premier League against Northern Territory. After commencing the tournament on a high note with two great performances in the first couple of rounds, the Barramundis have only had one win after 4 matches.
Barramundis head coach Deepak Patel said they're looking forward to a new challenge and new format in a new environment. They have been in training for the last couple of days in Alice Springs and looking forward to playing two-day cricket again. They're taking these matches seriously with the aim of securing the Intercontinental Cup. The PNG women's cricket team has also been on tour in Australia, ending their campaign on a high note. They finished the 11-day tour, defeating Australia's under-18 team by 8 wickets. The Pacific MMI PNG Lewers will play in the National Championships in Port Moresby starting this month before flying to Thailand in late November to play against Bangladesh, China, Ireland, Netherlands, Scotland and Zimbabwe to qualify for the 2016 ICC Women's World T20. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
Well, former NRL star Jared Hayne has been in hot form in the Professional American Football League, also known as the NFL. But he is not guaranteed the starting game-breaker return role when his team, the San Francisco 49ers, takes on Green Bay Packers tomorrow.
Jared Haynes' 49ers coach Jim Tomsula said the team's veteran Reggie Bush and speedster Bruce Ellington have both recovered from leg injuries and are ready to play the position where they host the Packers this Sunday. Ever since Haynes' debut appearance for the San Francisco 49ers, he has been a phenomenal force in his game rates. Haynes burst out onto the scene when starting for the 49ers against Houston Texans, where he reeled off a 53-yard run in the early stages of the second quarter to set up a touchdown.
Look at the toughness!
Haynes' role as punt runner is to catch the ball after it is punted or kicked, and to either kick the ball or run it, to give his team a good field position returning it, or score a touchdown if possible, almost as similar to his fullback role in the NRL.
Real rugby, two-time player of the year.
In a game where problems emerge at faster rate than solutions, Haynes' search for great opportunities as a punt runner is largely depend on his own defense. Much like rugby league in Brisbane, Packers football in Wisconsin is practically a religion. Packers have swing of championships and pride themselves on consistently being competitive. The likely scenario is Haynes will retain the punt return job after his blockbuster 37-yard return in Arizona that led to the 49ers' only touchdown.
Australia, yeah, he starts off weak.
Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
And in AFL, the Hawthorn Hawks defeated West Coast Eagles 107 points to 61 to take the 2015 Toyota AFL Cup in Melbourne today. A fractured defence and poor turnover saw West Coast Eagles unable to post the much-needed points to narrow the margin. The Hawks have marked another benchmark in AFL history by taking 3 titles in a row. Congrats to the team. Well, that wraps up Trukai Sports. We'll bring you the weather details for the next 24 hours after these short messages. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. In southern region, Port Moresby to look forward to dry and windy weather. Mostly fine, although windy. In Daru, cloudy periods expected in Karama, while Popondetta to look forward to fine weather as well as Alata. In Momase, mostly fine, expected in Wewak and Bunimore, cloudy periods for Ley City and Madang. In the New Guinea Islands, Kavieng, Rabaul, Kokopo and Kimbe to look forward to thundery showers. Thundery showers expected in Buka as well. And in the Highlands region, Goroka and Kundiawa, cloudy periods as well as Mendi and Wabeg. Now, the National Weather Office has issued a strong wind warning for all coastal waters of PNG except for waters west of Madang to Bogia to Wewak to Aitape, Vanimo and the PNG Indonesian border. Rough southeast surge of 25 to 34 knots are expected to persist for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas. All small crafts and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before going out at sea. Now let's take a look at forecasts for small ships. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait, Daru to Kiwai Island to Karama, Yule Island through to Hood Point and Samara Island, seas of 2.5 meters to 3 meters. Waters of eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 2.5 to 3 meters. Waters of Samarai to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, including Madang, seas of 2.5 meters to 3 meters. Waters of Madang to Bogia to Wewak to Aitape, Vanimo and the northern PNG Indonesian border, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. Waters of New Island to New Britain and Bougainville, including waters of New Britain, seas of 2.5 meters to 1.5 meters. And lastly, waters of New Island through to Bougainville, seas of 1.5 to 2.5 meters. Well, that's how we wrap up tonight's news. We leave you now with images of what appears to be a pod of whales sighted by Fisherman Island villagers on Thursday, just 4 kilometers outside of Port Moresby's Fairfax Harbour. Until the next time tomorrow, I'm Tokana Asabi on behalf of the news crew. You take care and stay happy. Good night.